Hello everyone and welcome to another Doctor Who video. Today in this video I am doing my second ever Big Finish review, and that is on the brand new, just released today box set Susan's War. And I've got to say, it is one of the best box sets ever released out. I really did like it. I would kind of say it's up there with the War Master, even though I've only listened to one box set and I wasn't a big fan of it. But I really did prefer this to the Time War, to the War Master box sets, to be honest. But this is such a good box set. I'm not kidding you. It is such a good box set, and it is just so good. There's 4 stories in all. And I'll just go through one each. I'll go through all of the stories, give them a rank out of 10. Then I'll just talk about the main characters afterwards. And then I'll give my thoughts, how much it costs, and all of that. So the first story in this box set is called Sphere of Influence by Eddie Robson. And I gotta say, this is a really good story. It really got me, felt like I was like a young kid again. Because in this story, and I've got to warn you now, there's going to be spoilers through this video. So if you don't want to hear them, either go out the video, listen to the box set, and then come back. Or if you want to know what it's like in the box set, then stay. Because I want to be honest. I don't want to be like, oh, sorry. I don't want to be like, oh, leave it, blah, blah, and then, like, say it's a really good box set and then you might not like it. I don't know. But I just want to be honest. And the only way I can be honest is to talk about the full story. So there will be spoilers. So I'm sorry if you don't want to hear the spoilers. If you don't, then leave the video and then come back when you listen to the box set. But the first story, Sphere of Influence, I can't say it properly, Eddie Robson, so good. It is basically Susan gets called up by the Time Lords to basically, because the Daleks have infiltrated Gallifrey and has attacked the Eye of Harmony. They're trying to drain it or attach themselves to the Eye of Harmony for some reason. So they need Susan in for this mission, and basically because they need telepathic energy and she can't do it on her own, they thought, well, she suggested going to the Sensorite home planet, but she wants someone else who's been there with her to basically support her in the mission. So they go and get Ian Chesterton, right? And I know I'm sounding too excited, but I do not listen to any of the early Adventure stuff. I do not like narration stories. I refuse to listen to narration stories because it ruins the illusion of the story. Like with this box set, because it's a full cast audio drama, you can actually imboil yourself within the story and make it actually sound like in your head it's a real Doctor Who story. But you can't when somebody's talking and trying to put an impression on and it doesn't work. For me, that ruins it. Because I tried to listen to them, and every time I listen to him, I'm just like, I don't want to listen to Big Finish anymore because it's rubbish. But this is why I don't listen to the narration stuff. But this is the first time this is the first time I'm listening to something with Ian Chesterton and so William Russell and Carol Ann Ford together since the TV show. And I'm just like, wow. The chemistry is still there, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Ian, oh my gosh, like that, like working with Susan again. And they mentioned Barbara, but sadly, the woman who played Barbara, and I can't remember her name now, passed away years ago, so they couldn't have her in there. But oh my gosh, so good. And I mean, when they talk about the Sense Sphere, Ian's like, blimey, I haven't been on this planet for years. Anyway, so they go on a planet and they're trying to get the Sensorites to join in with the Time War to help them with the Daleks infiltrating the Eye of Harmony. But there's something happening behind the scenes, and this is the big spoiler warning. Basically, you find out that a Dalek crash land on the Sense Sphere, and the Sensorites destroyed the Daleks, the army of Daleks, with their telepathic minds. But what's happened is a Dalek infiltrated the sphere and was hiding in deep in their minds, and Susan and Ian had to go into the heart of the sphere, I think, and they find the thing that was contaminating their minds, because the Sensorites were going AWOL, they're going crazy, trying to kill them all, and they basically saved the Sensorites and they joined them in the Time War. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is such a good story. And it's just the way that Eddie Robson catches the chemistry between Ian and Susan after all this time since the TV show, and then basically brings them back to the Sensorites' home planet since 1964, I think it is, when the first time you ever see the Sensorites. You never see them before. This is the first time they're on audio, I think. And they work so well on audio, and just having that sort of connection, and there's some references back to the old show, but the thing I love the most about this is, like, in the show you never hear Ian and Susan saying about Time Lords and Gallifrey, you know, and this is the first time you hear Ian and Susan actually name Gallifrey and the Time Lords, and Ian works with more Time Lords than the Doctor, you know, and it's just out of this world. And with this story, I've got to give it a 9 out of 10, because it's such a good story. It's so good and all of that. I don't really have anything that I dislike with it. If I had to say something, I would say the Sensorites are a little bit annoying. I wasn't a big fan of the Sensorite story, so I wasn't a big fan of their characters, but I did enjoy them more in this story. But that's the only little gripe I'd have with it. But other than that, the story is just so good, and this is why Eddie Robson is one of my favourite Big Finish writers, because every story he writes I get hooked on so much. But yeah, Sphere of Influence, 9 out of 10. The next story is called The Uncertain Shore by Simon Guerrier, and this story is basically Susan and Veclin are on Florana, and I know the name rings a bell, but because my brain hasn't been working, I can't remember where in Doctor Who they mentioned about Florana. But they're on the planet, and they're trying to hunt down. It's like a spy sort of story. They're trying to find a Dalek spy, I think, and the Daleks invade Florana, and and another spoiler ahead, you find out that that the three suspects that they detect isn't actually them. Basically, there's an alien being who duplicates bodies, and they are the Dalek spy, and they no, the human who died was the Dalek spy, but I think and the alien duplicated the body so they can go into the Daleks and kill them, because they're like a Dalek sort of, like, they want to kill the Daleks. I wasn't really zoned into this story because I'm at home doing work currently, and I was trying to listen to this whilst doing work as well. So I might need to give this one a re-listen. This is why I'm a bit confused and a bit mumbling on the story. But with what I heard, I thought it was really good. But the great thing about Veclin is that she's such a good character in the story, and she's really good in this box set. I really did love Veclin, and it seems like she's becoming really good friends with Susan, because the problem I had with Veclin in the War Doctor box set was she was so annoying. I didn't like her character, but it seems like they're fleshing her out a bit, like they're fleshing her out a bit more in this like story, that her character's starting to become more likable, and I really do like her character. So I really did enjoy this story, and I'll go give the story an 8 out of 10. The only thing I would say is a bit annoying is me not listening to it, so I didn't really understand all of the story. It's a bit of a complex story, but I really did enjoy it, so that's why I give it an 8 out of 10 so far, but I need to give it a re-listen. But that is The Uncertain Shore, 8 out of 10. The Assets of War, I've got to say, is my favourite story in the box set by far, and it's by Lou Morgan. And basically in the story, Susan gets taken with Rasmus and Veclin to one of the planets in the solar system around Gallifrey in the Time War, where they are basically, Susan has to assign to see if this weapon that the Gallifreyans have basically got is suitable for their war purpose. But what you don't realize is the Oreviks, aliens, are actually these like dog-like creatures. And spoiler ahead is that they want to use these dog-like creatures to fight against the Daleks. But Susan doesn't agree with it. She thinks it's a bit like barbaric, like, oh, they're creatures, you can't do it. And you find out there's a character in the story, a young man who is from the wastelands, and he thinks that the Gallifreyans don't care about him. They didn't care about his brother who died, and he thinks they're the worst beings around. And I really did like that. But what I loved about this story the most is Susan. Again, she shines in the story. She's trying to persuade the guy that every Gallifreyan isn't bad. There are still some Gallifreyans which are good in this world, you know. They're still Gallifreyans that will do whatever they can to make it right, like the Doctor and her. And not every Gallifreyan is bad, and people are dying, and she didn't want them to die, and it's such a good story, and you can tell that there's something going on with the Gallifreyans, and I think it's going to be left open for another box set. They're going to do another one probably, because Rasmus and the guy who captured the Oreviks were discussing at the end about keeping them around and using them actually as a weapon behind Susan's back in the war. And I'm thinking, oh, something sneaky's going on here. But I've got to give this story a 10 out of 10. It's so good. It's so thrilling. The characters are so good. Susan's really good. All of that. This story is a really good story, and I really want to listen to more of Lou Morgan's stuff, because if this is one of his best stories, I want to listen to more of his stories if he's ever written some. So Assets of War, 10 out of 10. So we're on the final story, the fourth story in the box set, called The Shoreditch Intervention by Alan Barnes. And I was a bit weary with this one because I'm not a big fan of Alan Barnes. I'm not a big fan of his writing, but this story again is a really, really good story. Basically, Susan gets captured by a woman. You don't know who she is. You don't know what her intentions are. But basically, she says that she needs to go back in time to 1963 to stop her grandfather getting this weapon, because they saying that he started a time war by burying this weapon or whatever it is that the Daleks want to, or that the Time Lords need to stop begin or stop the Time War. I wasn't really paying attention for that, but this is where big spoilers come into it. It turns out that the woman's actually working for the Daleks, and the Daleks want the weapon to destroy Gallifrey. But she goes on there and she's trying to stop it, and then Paul McGann turns up when they go into the antique shop and all of that, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But the great thing was in the story was you get a little cameo from David Bradley, who plays the first Doctor in the story, who plays the first Doctor in the first Doctor Adventures. And I was like, oh my gosh. But if any of you haven't listened to season 4 of the 8th Doctor Adventures, go turn away now. I mean, I haven't listened to it, so I was a bit confused, but they were going backwards and forwards, referencing about the loss of family and friends, and she's talking about her son Alex, who got killed by the Daleks. So I guess in the last story of the of the 8th Doctor Adventures in season 4, to the death, it's not only Lucy who dies. I think Alex gets killed as well, but I don't know. I haven't listened to the story, but she's still not over it, but she's not angry with the Doctor. She wants to forgive him, but she thinks that he's still the same. Like, he doesn't care about people. She just feels like that he turns away when people need him the most. And you can tell in this story that the Doctor wants to make it up to Susan. He's trying to save Susan. That was his main priority in the story. He wants to save Susan. He wants to protect her. He still cares about her, and he doesn't care about the Time War. He would do anything for her, and I think he's trying to make it up to her. And this story is just so good. I will give the story another story 10 out of 10, and that's the Shoreditch Intervention, and it's 10 out of 10, by far. yeah, so the cast with like Carole Ann Ford, Susan, she was really good in the story. Paul McGann as the Doctor, as usual, shines as the Doctor. William Russell, so good as Ian Chesterton after all this time, coming back as Ian Chesterton. Nicholas Briggs as the Daleks, as usual, really good as the Daleks. The woman who plays Veclin, such a good actress. Very good. Like, the voice acting work is very good in this story. I don't know the other actors' name, but everybody was so good in this box set. So I would say, if anybody's interested in getting this box set, please pick it up. It is so good. I was a bit weary to start with because I didn't know how they were going to pace it out and how it's going to work. But I would really say get this box set. Out of all of the scores I give, I'll give this box set a 9 out of 10. By far one of the best box sets I've ever listened to, and I would say it's a big recommendation to pick up. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Again, this is my second review. I hope I've done really well in this. I've never done Big Finish reviews, and I can't have the CD in hand because I can't get it well, I ordered it physically, but it won't come for a while because of the current situation we're going through right now. So I hope this has been okay. I'm sorry I'm rambling on a bit. I'm in a bit of a rush. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If there's any other stories you want me to review, and all of that, I've got quite a lot. Just put any recommendations down and I'll let you know if I've got them, and then I'll do a review of them if you want me to. And I'm totally fine with that. Please give this a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please put on the notification bell when new videos come up. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll try and upload another one as soon as I can. If I can't, then I'll probably do one next month when the next monthly range and box set comes out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.